Hello everyone and welcome to the program. This is Week in Review on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Kabir Hassan. It's been a very big week, and today we're looking at stories that shape the national conversation, from Nigeria's security to democracy and economy. We're looking at this takes over as the 23rd Indigenous Inspector General of Police, as the federal government signals readiness for state police. INEC assures transparent elections ahead of 2027, while the Central Bank of Nigeria cuts policy rates to 26% amid easing inflation. On the global front, diplomatic tension rise as the Iran defends its position and talks emerge over expanded U.S. access to strategic resources. Now let's take a look at the details. History was made in Abuja as Nigeria's police hierarchy formally changed hands, with the 23rd Indigenous Acting Inspector General of Police assuring command amid renewed calls for reform, professionalism, and improved internal security. Samuel Odi reports.
The colorful handover ceremony held at the force headquarters in Abuja marked the official transfer of authority from the outgoing Inspector General of Police to his successor, Olatunji Disu, who now becomes the 23rd indigenous IGP in the history of Nigerian police force. Senior police officers, government officials, security chiefs, and invited dignitaries witnessed the symbolic signing of handover documents and inspection of guard. With his inaugural remarks, IGP Disu pledged to build on existing reforms while strengthening intelligence-led policing, community engagement, and officers' welfare. He assured Nigerians of a renewed commitment to tackling insecurity across the country and restoring public confidence in the force. The new police boss emphasized professionalism, discipline, and collaboration with other security agencies as key pillar of his administration.
My tenure will therefore be built on three clear commitments: professionalism, modernism, accountability, integrity, community partnership, and trust. To all officers, I will demand the best from you, because the people who serve deserve nothing less. Integrity, compassion, courage. These are not optional qualities. They are the job. But I make this promise in return. I will fight for your welfare, your dignity, and the conditions you need to serve effectively.
In his farewell address, the outgoing IGP Kayode Egbetokun expressed gratitude to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the opportunity to serve and thanked officers and men of the force for their support during his tenure. He noted that policing in Nigeria requires collective responsibility and urged continued loyalty to the institution and the nation.
Targeted operations during this period disrupted organized criminal kidnapping networks, curtailed violent criminal syndicates, improved coordinated response capacity, and restored operational confidence in previously underserved communities.
The ceremony concluded with a formal salute and the lowering and hoisting of the Inspector General's flag, symbolizing a seamless transition of leadership. The new Inspector General of Police now faces immediate tasks of consolidating reforms and confronting persisting security challenges across the country. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris, has reiterated the federal government's strong commitment to establishment of state police. The minister made this known as a strategic meeting with the Center for Crisis Communication, led by its chairman, Major General Chris Olukolade, retired, at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja. Sadia Yakubu has more.
Minister of Information and National Orientation Muhammad Idris says decentralized policing has become imperative in addressing Nigerians' evolving security challenges. Idris further explained that strengthening the country's internal security structure must go hand in hand with strengthening national communication systems, particularly in an era where crises are shaped not only by events but also by the rapid spread of information. He added that digital innovation is therefore central to timely, accurate and coordinated communication, especially during moments of national importance.
In your attempt to spread information, you also have to know that the person consuming that information also has right over you. Therefore, responsible use of whatever tool you are using is core in ensuring that you have what is called effective communication.
Earlier in his speech, Major General Chris Olukolade, retired, expressed appreciation to the minister for his support and encouragement towards advancing crisis communication reforms in Nigeria. He appealed for the minister's endorsement of the proposed National Crisis Communication Hope and Performance Index framework, which he described as critical to real-time monitoring, to coordinated responses to misinformation, and to strengthen institutional accountability.
Continuous training for journalists, public relations officers, security spokespersons was strongly recommended during that conference, particularly in the digital tools, advanced fact-finding and fact-checking, and early detection through AI-generated misinformation tools. So strengthening media literacy was identified as essential to combating misinformation and safeguarding public trust.
With growing insecurity demands and rising complexity of threats, Nigerians' shift towards state policing may not longer be optional, but inevitable. From Abuja, Sadia Yakubu for Global Television News.
The chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Josh Amupitan, has reiterated his commitment to strengthen Nigeria's democratic process through inclusivity, transparency, and the deployment of technology. The chairman gave the assurance while receiving the United Nations Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator to Nigeria, Muhammad Ford, and the resident representative of the United Nations Deployment Program to Nigeria, Elise Atuafa, during a courtesy visit to the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. Samuel Odi reports.
The Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Josh Amopitan, emphasized that INEC remains focused on improving electoral integrity through continuous reforms, stakeholders' engagement, and effective use of technology in election management. He noted that inclusivity remains a key pillar of the Commission's mandate, particularly in ensuring greater participation of women, youth, and persons with disability in the electoral process. The chairman, INEC, also acknowledged the long-standing partnership between Nigeria and the United Nations, describing the collaboration with the United Nations and UNDP as instrumental in strengthening democratic institutions, capacity building, and electoral reforms.
It is important not just to build capacity for fair and free election. It is also important to ensure that the elections are credible because of the link between election and development. Africa suffers underdevelopment, and that has also affected our electoral processes.
The United Nations Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator to Nigeria, Mohammed Ford, commended INEC for its efforts in consolidating democracy in Nigeria, stressing the UN's commitment to supporting credible electoral processes as a foundation for peace, stability, and development.
And for this reason, we want to express our prayer, express our wish for you and the entire Commission and to succeed in the endeavor which is yours and for which, as I said earlier, not only as United Nations or not only as in West Africa, but I can say Africa at large and the world is looking up to you.
Also speaking, the United Nations Development Program Representative Elsa Atafwa reiterated the agency's readiness to continue providing technical and institutional support aimed at enhancing electoral transparency, accountability, and citizen participation.
Nigeria, as you may know, is also providing great leadership through His Excellency the President through a program called the Regional Partnership for Democracy, which I think recently during the African Union Summit, the government through the foreign minister was there talking about the need for democracy to be homegrown in Africa.
The visit underscores ongoing cooperation between INEC and international development partners in promoting democratic governance in Nigeria, highlights continued collaboration between INEC and United Nations as Nigeria prepares for off-cycle elections in June and August 2026 and the general elections in 2027, with renewed assurance that transparency, inclusivity, and credibility will remain at the heart of the country's democratic journey. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
The chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Joshua Muffutan, has expressed satisfaction with the conduct of the Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections following an assessment visit to the polling units within the Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC. Anita Patrick reports.
At several polling units visited within AMAC, the INEC chairman described the exercise as orderly, peaceful, and efficient, key indicators, he says, of a credible election. Professor Amopiton commended the performance of the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, noting that accreditation was seamless and took less than 5 seconds per voter. He said the effective deployment of technology would further strengthen the integrity of the electoral process, ensuring that only accredited voters cast their ballots and that results are transmitted transparently.
As far as the efficiency of the BVAS is concerned, I am very satisfied because the BVAS have worked effectively and efficiently.
The INEC chairman also observed a large voter turnout, describing it as a positive sign of growing civic awareness and public confidence in the system. Security presence, he noted, was adequate, with about 30 personnel stationed at some polling locations to maintain order. On reports of minor logistical challenges in a few polling units, including delayed arrival of materials, the INEC chairman said over 99% of polling units opened as scheduled, while issues recorded in isolated areas were swiftly addressed through security reinforcements and real-time monitoring from the Commission Situation Room.
So far, we have gotten very good reports from all the polling units. The atmosphere is very calm in all the polling units. The only area we had problem was in Abaji. And immediately, we deployed security men, and the ugly incident was tamed. And so voting has resumed there.
Looking ahead to 2027, Professor Amopiton expressed confidence that the consistent deployment of BVAS and adherence to due process would continue to guarantee credible elections and strengthen public trust in Nigeria's democratic process. He expressed optimism that at the close of polls, the FCT elections would be adjudged free, fair, and successful. Anita Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has reduced its monetary policy rate by 50 basis points to 26.5%, down from the 27% following the 304th meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee in Abuja. The Apex Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadosu, made this known while addressing journalists after the Monetary Policy Committee meeting. Kike Lomo Okere has details.
Headline inflation has eased for the 11th consecutive month, falling to 15.1% in January 2026, prompting the Apex Bank to adopt a cautious shift towards easing while maintaining other key parameters, including the cash reserve ratio, liquidity ratio, and standard facility corridor. The CBN Governor Olayemi Kadoso says this is marking the first rate cut after a long period of tight monetary policy aimed at curbing inflation and stabilizing the naira. He says the decision represents the lowest benchmark rate since May 2024 and underscores a gradual approach to monetary easing, balancing the need to support economic growth and continued vigilance over inflation and liquidity conditions.
But to ensure that we've kept a very, very tight monetary policy. We believe that if we sustain stability in the foreign exchange market, which we have seen in the recent past, that it is important to sustain that. We also believe that it is important that the sort of decreases we are seeing in food inflation should continue.
CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso says the Apex Bank is tightening oversight of the Nigeria rapidly expanding fintech sector, now with over 430 operators and considered systematically important to the economy as it rolls out a new framework to boost supervision, strengthen cybersecurity and risk management, and align fintech with the standards of deposit money banks while supporting innovations and global competitiveness.
We'll do everything possible to ensure that the different threats, the cyber threats, the different threats that the banking system has, we ensure that the fintechs are also able to rise to that occasion and operate at a respectable enough standard.
The latest move signals a carefully calibrated shift by the Central Bank of Nigeria to support growth while keeping inflation firmly in check. With easing price pressures and tighter oversight of the financial system, the focus now turns to sustaining stability, strengthening investors' confidence, and ensuring the gains translate into real economic impact. Kike Lomo Ukeri, Global Television News.
And now, away from Nigeria, we head into Somaliland, where it says it's ready to grant the United States access to its mineral resources and military bases as it intensifies its push for international recognition. Mukhtar Qasim has details.
The breakaway region, which declared autonomy from Somaliland in 1991, has been seeking broader diplomatic recognition following Israel's decision in December to acknowledge its independence. Somaliland officials say the territory holds deposits of lithium, coltan, and other strategic minerals, and argue that closer ties with Washington could strengthen regional security in the Gulf of Aden.
Friends, if it's Israel or the United States, explore the potential of minerals that we have, particularly the rare earth and the strategic minerals, in which we know are becoming very important for the United States. And as the President said, we are willing to give exclusive also to the United.
The minister also suggested that Somaliland is prepared to deepen similar strategic partnership beyond Washington as it seeks formal recognition.
Basically, Israel has recognized Somaliland, and two countries which recognize each other have the potential to agree on a number of strategic issues. But this recognition and relationship between Somaliland and Israel is not shaped by military or security. It's shaped by the fact that Israel has recognized an existing state.
Somali's federal government has rejected Somaliland's independent claim, while the African Union and several Arab states have reaffirmed support for Mogadishu, leaving the region's diplomatic future uncertain. Mukhtar Qasim, reporting for Global Television News.
Still on the foreign scene, Iran Foreign Minister Abbas Iraqi has warned that his country will be forced to strike back at the United States interest in the Middle East in a response to any renewed attack. He insisted that Iran has a right to continue uranium enrichment for civilian purposes. Uyi Agbomofuebi has the rest of the story.
Speaking during an interview, the Prime Minister said there is now what he called a good chance that talks with the U.S. negotiators would head off renewed military strikes, stating that such a scenario presents Tehran no other option than to retaliate.
If they want to find a resolution for Iran's peaceful nuclear program, the only way is diplomacy. And we have proved this in the past, and I believe that still there is a good chance to have a diplomatic solution which is based on a win-win game, and a solution is at our reach.
So there is no need for any military build-up, and military build-up cannot help it and cannot pressurize us.
Last year, in response to strikes by Washington on its nuclear facilities, Iran fired missiles at the U.S. airbase at Al Udeid in Qatar. After a recent round of talks in Geneva, Switzerland, Iran said it is preparing a draft proposal for an agreement which would be ready in a matter of days. Uyi Agbamofwegbe reporting for Global TV News.
The Nigerian Shooting Sport Federation is set to launch its first ever national parachuting tournament dedicated to veterans and wounded soldiers. The championship, aimed at honoring injured and retired military personnel, is seeking strong backing from the Ministry of Defense. Anita Patrick reports.
The president of the Nigerian Shooting Sports Federation, Mohammed Shetima, made the announcement during a courtesy visit to the Federal Ministry of Defense in Abuja. He told the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, retired, that the maiden tournament will be known as the General C.G. Musa National Parachuting Trophy Championship. According to him, the initiative goes beyond competition. He describes the championship as a platform to celebrate the sacrifice of retired and wounded military personnel while promoting rehabilitation, unity, and grassroots development of the sports.
We want to create that opportunity where some of our veterans, especially those with the gunnery weapon training instructors, so they have a specialization that cannot be applied outside the military. And we'll draw these coaches from our pool of retired personnel.
The president says the federation also plans to harness the expertise of former servicemen and women as coaches and technical officials, creating a pathway for continued service beyond active duty. During the meeting, the National Shooting Sport Federation sought the ministry's intervention to unlock a $20,000 equipment grant currently delayed by administrative processes.
We also have interest in partnering with the ministry to renovate some of the shooting ranges in the country.
Where? Which location?
So there's one in Kaduna, the Sizim range, in Jaji.
That season was just a waste.
Yes,
money
sir.
That was just wasted.
Yes, sir. And there's also one here in the National Stadium, MKO Stadium.
In his response, the defense minister commended the initiative, describing it as a fitting tribute to personnel injured in the line of duty. He reaffirmed the role of sports in rehabilitation and national unity, assuring the Federation of the ministry's full support to secure approvals and resources needed to successfully host the championship.
So I congratulate you and I assure you we will work and partner together with you in ensuring whatever things we can do to support you. We're very happy about it. And the opportunities that you are giving to also the veterans, those injured, is another way. You don't have to do too many physical things. The rifle can speak for itself.
For many wounded veterans, the tournament could offer more than medals. It may provide renewed purpose, recognition, and a powerful reminder that their service to the nation is not forgotten. Anita Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
And this is where we wrap up this edition of the program. Thank you for staying with us. Join us next time as we bring you comprehensive stories that shape national conversation. I am Kabir Hassan. Have a great weekend.